Hey guys, welcome back to Mormonade. So, yesterday I was sick again, so we're doing our video today. So, this week we're going to be answering two questions that we received on our Google survey. The first question that we're going to look at is what's up with no coffee, etc.
So, first off, we want to talk about a commandment that the Lord gave to Joseph Smith in February of 1833. You may have heard of this commandment from Mormons before, and we like to call it the word of wisdom. This commandment teaches us about what things we should or shouldn't put into our bodies to help us to be healthy and to live a healthy lifestyle. God has promised that we'll receive blessings like strength, health, protection against evil, and the ability to feel the Spirit more strongly if we obey the word of wisdom.
So, we have to remember that our bodies are sacred. We should treat them with respect and reverence. In 1 Corinthians chapter 3 verses 16 and 17 it says, "Know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you? If any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy, for the temple of God is holy, which temple ye are." So you wouldn't want to walk into a perfect and newly built home after you've just rolled around in the mud, because you wouldn't want to mess up something so beautiful. Simply put, the word of wisdom allows us to keep our bodies or our temples clean.
The word of wisdom teaches that we should eat healthy foods so that we can live a healthy lifestyle. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't go to like your local McDonald's or Burger King and enjoy a burger or chicken nuggets here and there. But watching what you eat can make a huge impact on the quality of your life.
And the word of wisdom also teaches very specifically that we should avoid harmful substances of any form. So there are quite a few, but the five that we normally talk about are alcohol, tobacco, tea, coffee, and harmful drugs. So we're going to break down each of these five substances for you guys.
So the first is that we do not drink alcohol. In Proverbs chapter 31 verse 5 it reads, "Lest they drink and forget the law and pervert the judgment of any of the afflicted." Now, alcohol is something that can impair our judgment and take away our agency, or as we've talked about in the past, which is our freedom to choose. Alcohol impairs us in many ways. First of all, it can be addictive, which means that it can become a vice, something that we absolutely need in order to function no matter how badly we may want to stop drinking it. This means that we've lost our freedom to choose whether or not we want it. How many times have you heard stories on the news about drunk drivers or people drinking themselves to death? As Latter-day Saints, we avoid alcohol because we value our agency in our lives as well as the lives of others that could be affected by secondhand alcohol.
So we don't use tobacco, which comes in many forms like cigarettes and cigars. Tobacco has been proven to lead to many illnesses, diseases, and even death of loved ones. And it's also been proven to be an addictive substance. So if it's addictive, why would we want to indulge in it? Again, it takes away our agency to choose.
Now, we do not drink tea or coffee, and the reasons for avoiding both are because they are considered hot drinks. In the scriptures, it talks about how hot drinks are not for the belly. At the time of this revelation in 1833, nobody could see the effects of these things on the body. Now, modern science today has come to explain that coffee and even certain teas can ruin the intestinal tract. They do things such as turn them into rubber, causing them to be unable to function.
And last of all, we do not use harmful drugs or harmful substances. As Latter-day Saints, we find the use of drugs to be a way to alter our persona, our personality. For instance, it's been proven that marijuana does have medical uses and can fight off many illnesses or disease. However, as Latter-day Saints, we believe it's against the word of wisdom, and we must do as the Lord commands.
Now, there's one more category that we have decided to include in this, and that is any substance that is addictive or can become addictive. This could be a wide variety of things. For example, we do not believe that caffeine is inherently bad. Sometimes you may need it because you had a rough day at home and you need to function at work. For me, I love to drink a Coke or a Mountain Dew here and there. I also love to play video games. Now let's say that I was addicted to these things, and that means that I'd have to have them in my system, or I'd have to play a certain amount of video games a day in order to function. That is where we could call these addictive substances.
Something interesting about the word of wisdom is that certain parts are open to interpretation. So there are many members of the LDS Church who believe that living a vegan lifestyle is what is recommended by the word of wisdom, because there's a part where it mentions eating meat sparingly. However, there are lots of people who also believe that veganism is wrong because it goes against the word of wisdom. So there are certain things that collectively as Mormons we agree are wrong, mostly things like smoking and drinking alcohol. But there are other areas that are kind of up to us to decide. So some Mormons don't drink any soda because they believe it's against the word of wisdom. But other people chug 3 cans of Coke a day like it's no big deal. So it's really up to you to decide what you believe certain areas of the commandment are asking you to abstain from.
Also, sometimes we do not know why God gives us a commandment. In 1833, Joseph Smith and the rest of the church certainly did not understand why tobacco or coffee would be wrong, but they had the understanding that they needed to obey God and His commandments. When God gives a commandment, it is for us to obey and to know that there is a reason behind it, even if it takes years, decades, or centuries for us to even to begin and understand or to comprehend.
So we've both been blessed by living the word of wisdom, by having pretty great health and being able to know that we are obeying the commandments of God. And if you feel that you might have an addiction or you'd like to break a habit, then there are steps that you can take to overcome that addiction or break that habit. And we're going to include a link in the description below to a website that's going to help you by outlining the steps and help you move forward in your journey.
Now, our next question that we're going to talk about is, are all Mormons Republicans? What is their stance on politics? And how do they feel about legalized bad things like marijuana and alcohol? So we've pretty much answered the second half of this question very well. But now we'll talk about the first half. Are all Mormons Republicans?
So, not all Mormons are Republicans. I'd say that a pretty good chunk of them are at least conservative, if not Republican, in their political beliefs. But there are definitely a lot of Mormons who are liberal or Democrats. So the leaders of our church do not endorse a certain political stance or anyone running for any political office, because that's up to us as members of the LDS Church to decide for ourselves through prayer and serious pondering. So just like the word of wisdom, our political beliefs are up to us to decide. As long as they're in sync with the teachings of Christ, in our opinion, then we're pretty much all set. The church endorses ideas of thinking for ourselves, working hard to provide for our families, treating people with respect, and other teachings of Christ. But people can form completely different opinions about certain political leanings. Those who are Republican believe that they are following Christ's teachings, but so do Democrats.
In the end, both when it comes down to the word of wisdom and to political leanings, there are always going to be members of the church, or of the LDS Church, who look at someone different from them and scoff and say, wow, they're really not following Christ's teachings, or something like that. And that's just the way it is. No matter what you believe, people will judge you because they think you're doing it wrong. But guess what? If you're doing what you believe is right, what you believe Christ would do, then everyone else can suck it. And a phrase we learned earlier, you do you, boo-boo.
So before we let Zoe share her usual message with you guys, we want to ask you again to make sure that you are submitting questions to our Google survey, which you can find the link for below our videos. We're running low on questions. We've got a few more this week, which is awesome, but we're running low on questions, and we want to make sure that the videos that we make are actually on topics that you guys want to hear about. So ask us questions so that we know what you want to know. So we'll let Zoe give her message.
Okay guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you like this video and share it with your family and friends on any social media. Also like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and be sure to subscribe to our newsletter on our website, which you can find in the description below. I'm so glad you guys watched another one of our videos, and I can't wait to see you next week. Okay, bye!